Hi everyone, how's it going? Ollie here. Really excited, it's off to France tomorrow to try and find a very special and rare flower, Primula allionii. So wish me luck. Let's go. Right, here we go. Early start from Gatwick. I don't always photograph everything I'm doing, but this has to be Instagram friendly, so forgive me. Here's where we're going, London down to Nice, and we're off. You know, that still gets me every time. That power, I find exhilarating. And look at that, isn't that serene? Some things as humans we're not meant to see, but that is breathtaking. Heaven. So, Maritime Alps 24, the quest for Primula allionii. Let's go. And there it is, the Côte d'Azur. And I don't know if you've flown to Nice before, but I just feel like you're about to land in the middle of the sea. Well, just arrived in Nice. So we're going to pick up the car, and then off we go. But I think I'm lost now. Oh no, here we go. Location de voiture, still good. Always like this little walk to the rental area here. Seems quite exotic. Look at this tree. What is that? Here she is, my little chariot for the next couple of days. Right, the first thing you have to do when you get to France is have a decent pastry. Sadly this wasn't, it was dry and dusty. But note, reusable cup, saving the world, one cup at a time. Anyway, we leave Nice behind us, and it's not long before we're weaving our way through delightful little French villages. And I should add here that I'm a big fan of a French artist called Roger Broders, who used to do travel posters in the 1920s. And here's one he did of, I guess, the road that we're on. So, we're up through Sospel and then Breuil-sur-Roya, and the road gradually gets more and more narrow and more rocky, until eventually we pop out into the charming little town of Tende. I'll say a bit about Tende before we start. It's florally very, very rich because it's in the Alps, you've got the altitude, you've got alpine flora. It's also not far from Nice, so you get the Mediterranean stuff as well, so there's this fantastic diversity of flowers here. Also in the MAs there are these great signs saying beware of the guard dogs that protect the sheep from intruders. The intruders of course are wolves. Now I've never seen a wolf, but I did see a bear and its cubs last year in Poland, which was pretty hairy. That's the experience, it was hairy. The bear was also hairy, of course. Anyway, enough of this banter. That sort of thing doesn't bother a seasoned plant hunter like myself. Armed with nothing but my identification books by Christopher Gray Wilson, beautifully illustrated by Marjorie Blamey, I hit the trail, hoping to finally see a flower of Primula allionii. Let's go. And first up is this fantastic big fat orchid. I don't know what it is. So we get the book out and I'll show you what we do, how we identify a flower if you've not done this before. So we know it's an orchid, we go to the orchid pages. By the way, I know it's an orchid just because you get used to it. You look at all the photos, no, it's none of those. You flick the page over, yeah, that looks like it there. Then you go and read the description. As long as that old key's out okay, that's your plant. So this one's Orchis purpurea, the lady orchid. And one thing to look out for, if two species are very similar, is their distribution. For instance, if one grows in the Pyrenees and the other one grows in the Alps, you know it's not the Pyrenean one. Next up, another orchid, this lovely white orchid, Cephalanthera longifolia, look at those lovely long leaves. And more orchids, Ophrys, bee orchids, so called because they look like bees. Look at these little flowers, aren't they cute? I don't identify all these because there's loads of them very, very similar. Still more orchids and Champs-Élysées, look at this beauty. Neotia, I guess you pronounce it, Neotia nidis avis. Looks like it's been spray painted with gold leaf paint. Stunning plant. Trumpet gentian, Gentiana acaulis. Lots of very similar species. Again, I don't identify them all, but say no more. Trumpet gentian, beautiful. Continued on the path, found a bit of dinner, and it wasn't long before I was close to the site of the plant that was the purpose of this trip. My raison d'être. So here it is, the reason I came here. Extremely, extremely rare. Primula allionii. As you can see here, that's the old flower just there. See another one there. So sadly, it's over. And actually, what have we got there? See that there? Those little bits there. That's actually it setting seed. Very, very sad. Bugger. Extraordinarily rare. It's so rare that I can't find it anywhere else in this whole area. I reckon mid-April I'm going to have to come back. Oh well, just enjoy it now for a bit. Very, very, very rare. Disappointing, but didn't matter. There were lots of other nice things to see. Next up, a little Saxifraga, Saxifraga granulata, an unusual bulbous species. Now this one does grow in the UK as well, but the next one doesn't. It's another special of the area. Saxifraga cochlearis, the spoon leaf saxifrage. Lime encrusted silver rosettes, can form big, hard, warty cushions. Look at this one, it's bigger than the size of my hand. Fantastic plant, I'm sure you all grow it at home. The form minor is a beautiful little plant. I believe La Brigue, which is around the corner, is the type location of this plant, so it's another great reason to visit Tende. And I love these boulders here that form these like natural rock gardens. You'd kill to have that in your garden, wouldn't you? And look at that little orchid at the edge there. Here it is. Again, didn't identify these orchids. I don't know what they are. Two things you might recognise from home. Fritillaria meleagris, the old snake's head fritillary, sadly gone over. Solomon's seal, Polygonatum odoratum, very nice. I had a bit of spare time left. I decided to walk up through the village and go up above the village. On the way up, these lovely campagnulas that are growing in the wall there. And you do tend to find that in these areas when there's fantastic wildflowers, that the domestic flowers also do really well. So we continued up to the churchyard, these lovely iris here, and in the walls of the church grow another fantastic local speciality, and that is Saxifraga callosa Bellardi. And we'll talk a lot more about that later. I continued up above Tende and up towards the cliffs, and I was quite early, so I was seeing a lot of bulbous stuff. So here's another one of my favourites, Muscari camosum. Look at those lovely lavendery, purpley things at the top of it. Bit of an alien plant, quite wonderful. This lovely form of Sempervivum arachnoideum that grows around here. Look at those little green tips to the leaves there and that cobwebbing in the middle. Quite stunning. Oh, talking of quite stunning, who's that handsome chap? As I say, I apologise for the self. It's not really my bag, but you've got to do it, haven't you? Anyway, I do apologise for speaking so fast, but we've got a lot to get through and I tend to waffle and I'm trying to keep it concise. Still, it's time to take a breather. But I do warn you.
So this is what I love right about Europe. I've been toiling all day, up and down slopes, hard graft. What I need now is a beer, and I only want a small beer. So it doesn't go warm and it doesn't go flat, and they do that so well here. And not only that, you buy your beer, and then they bring you this fantastic little plate of nibbles, which at home would cost you a tenner, and then they charge you a service charge as well. And they just do it here. How have we got it so wrong?
Yeah, sorry, I am rather milking this chewing scene. Come on. Get on with it.
Oh, I just love sitting here, watching the world go by. Look at that, snow-peaked mountains. Lovely little quiet French. All is well. And to top it off.
So here's a bit more Instagram footage of me pretending to write in my diary. Just kidding, I do actually keep a diary. I just don't normally film myself writing in it. And look at my little recollect machine. I love it. Anyway, sweet dreams tout le monde. À demain. Ah, bonjour, my little British chums. What a fantastic sleep in that fresh mountain air. So I went out to get my breakfast and saw one of these lovely little French vehicles and a massive dog in the back. I mean, look at it, it's like a bear. Proper breakfast this morning. Planned the route, and we're off into the valleys above Tende today. And that reminds me, the word route. Why have the Americans started pronouncing it route? I mean, you don't say, get your kicks on Route 66, do you?
Good morning, plant lovers. Okay, so today, gone a bit higher. Going to go at the Mini Air Valley to start with, and then up to the Castorino Valley afterwards. Good news is I've seen some Primula in flower, Primula allionii, the little ox slip. So hopefully you can see quite a few things in flower today. It's a bit colder up here. There's going to be some snow. So wish me luck. Over and out.
First up, little Dactylorhiza sambucina, another orchid. Comes in two colours, this creamy yellow straw colour and purple. Loads of these by the road as well. And here's the sort of terrain we're walking through to see these flowers. Here's the lake, and you can see the little paths going up through light larch woodland, and there's glades. So all these flowers are right next to the path, just growing in the turf. Things like the Primula, which we will see, and the Saxifraga, this little Saxifraga paniculata, a very green form that grows in the Miniere Valley. It's just growing in like some rocky outcrops and boulders. Always worth exploring next to the stream, because you can see things like this you might recognise from home. Marsh marigold, Caltha palustris. Look at those beautiful golden salvers. And as you can see here, the larch, we're really early. They're only just starting to get their needles. And here's me in my nice new boots. Now, here we go. One of my favourites. I know I say that about every plant, but this one is one of my favourites. You only kind of get to see it early on in the season. Hepatica nobilis. It's a member of the Ranunculaceae family. And it's lovely. Look how dainty that is. Also comes in white, comes in pink as well. This lovely inky purple with the really bright white anthers. It stands out as a very, very striking plant. And the one on the right here I thought was interesting, because normally the flowers come up first and then the leaves, but here you can see the lovely kidney-shaped, bright green, hairy leaves. Delightful.
Not just the flowers that are great up here, you know, it's part of the thing is the walking, and it's quite strenuous. You get a lot of air in your lungs, and it kind of just gives you time to process things and think. And look, these beautiful larch forests you walk through, and usually there's like a, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a river down below, rushing away. Oh, I've just seen a nice flower. But oh, look at this beauty. Oh yeah. Pulsatilla alpina, beautiful.
Now, Pulsatilla alpina. You're not going to believe this. It's one of my favourites. Also Ranunculaceae, so it's related to the little hepaticas we saw earlier, and the marsh marigold, same family. This plant in particular is probably the best specimen I've ever seen for a few reasons. Firstly, the flowers are all perfect. There's no rain damage. It's a lovely flower shape. That white is the purest white. It's a Daz white. And as well as its pretty face, Pulsatilla alpina also has a beautiful back of its head, if you like. It's got that lovely purpley pinkish flush, and it's also got those lovely hairy stems and green feathery bracts. And when photographing plants, it's often a struggle to get the right angle because you want to capture all of these characteristics. Now, what I like about this plant is, in the left shot, there's a lot of flowers turned towards you, so you're getting to see the wonderful pretty face with those golden anthers. There's also a flower turned away, so you're getting to see the back of it. And in the shot on the right, different angle, there's a flower facing the camera, but a lot are facing away, and we're seeing that wonderful purple-pink reverse, but we're really capturing those lovely hairy, I haven't got a thing for hairy stems, but they are very appealing. But this plant in particular was great because it showed both aspects. So a lovely, lovely plant, and what a pleasure to see this. And you can't believe that this plant actually grows wild. One of the nice things as well, which I didn't mention earlier about being in the hills, is the solitude. I mean, there's just no one else around. It's wonderful and... Hold on. Oh, who's that? Oh, come on then. He's taking his time, isn't he? Oh, that's better. So, peace and quiet at last, the solitude.
So here we go, one of my favourites. Primula marginata. Grows all over the Maritime Alps. Now's the perfect time to see it. I'm just going to move it up a bit there so you can have a look at it. What a beauty. Let's have a bit of a closer look. Okay, here we go. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Look at the farina. Farina inside the flowers there. The leaves, lobed, covered in farina, and best part about it is, well, not the best part, obviously it's stunning. Also, it smells good.
Now, my words are clumsy and uneloquent, so I'll let Farah describe Primula marginata as only Farah can. Here we go. If, out of all the race, I had to choose one species alone to cultivate, I'm not sure that my choice would not fall on Primula marginata. And by the way, the leaves are toothed, not lobed, toothed. That toothed edge is outlined by a narrow clear line of golden white powder, whose effect, as of a silver hem, is quite startlingly beautiful against the grey tone of the foliage. Of the flowers, he says, of the most exquisite silvery lavender, which sometimes deepens towards purple or lightens towards lilac, but always keeps blue as the dominant tone of the composition. In the centre of each blossom, too, the crystalline texture of its fabric is powdered with minutest pearl-like flecks of the powder. And somehow, this gives the last touch of daintiness to the flowers. The white dust stands out on the lavender ground like globules of rain on the surface of a pool. Isn't that poetry? Now we've got a bit of snow here, and when I see snow I get very excited when I'm walking, because a lot of these plants, like crocus here and hepatica, they flower as soon as the snow goes. It's really, really early. Now let's get over the snow and look at all these crocus coming up. So snow is always a good sign. Here's a nice little combo shot of a plant you all know now, hepatica, and crocus. And what a delightful little bunch this was. And what else would you rather be doing rather than hanging around and photographing and frolicking with these lovely little gems of the hills? Look at them. Again, same problem. What do you do? Which angle do you go for? Do you capture that lovely bit of feathering on the outside, or do you go for the golden anthers? You just have to take loads of photos. But deleting them is a nightmare. Loads of different colour forms of this. It went right through from the pure white, the purple feathering. I wasn't sure what species it was. I think it's albiflorus. Sometimes you have to dig them up and like check the bulbs and things, and I didn't really want to do that. And look at this one. What a beautiful, rich colour. Purple on purple. Evocative. That's a rubbish photo. I don't know. I've got one up here. Oh, I think it's maybe so you can see that the three different flowers all in one shot. It's a dreadful photo there. And look at this pair here. Feathered on the inside with those golden stamens, and the ones on the right are beautiful light mauve. Lavender maybe. Oh god, there he is again, look. Another very early flower, the aptly named Alpine snowball, Soldanella alpina. I think. I know what you're going to say. He doesn't know any of these plants. He just walks around and guesses at them. But a lot of these species are very similar, and I've got a lot of mountain to cover, so I don't always identify everything, okay? Next up, Agagia, unknown species. Sylvifolia, lovely blue. And there's me posing for Instagram, eating my lunch on a boulder with a little draba. Lovely little yellow draba. Member of the cabbage family on the left. You could, does it look like a tiny little rape plant? Maybe. Yeah, it's me walking through the snow as well, look, in my boots. And Pulsatilla alpina, subspecies Apifolia. Now this is basically the yellow version of the Pulsatilla we were looking at earlier. They say it grows on different soils. One grows on acid, the other one grows on lime. I've seen them grow next to each other. I don't think that's true. Anyway, this is gorgeous. It's creamy. Look at those lovely flowers. And sometimes you can capture the sun coming through the petals or sepals, whatever they are, and it changes everything. Best angle? Who knows? Hairy stems. Another sort of special of the Maritime Alps, although not confined to the region, is Primula viscosa. It's a lovely deep mauve. Is that a mauve? And look at this little gem, Primula hirsuta. I mean, obviously the top primulas in the area are Primula marginata. That's what you come here to see. Primula viscosa perhaps, and of course the king of the region, Primula allionii. But look at this little Primula hirsuta. Look at those little heart-shaped petals. It's kissable. And those green leaves against that rock there, the damp, moist rock. Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the hills. Right, last few flowers of the day. A bit more bulby stuff. Ornithologum umbellatum, the Star of Bethlehem. Very, very nice. Look at these forms of Sempervivum arachnoideum. I mean, they're not black, but they're almost black. Look at that, and look at the webbing. Oh, absolutely delightful. And a little plant from home you might recognise, wallflower, erysimum, sweetly scented, beautiful. Now this valley is an old mining valley, and at the bottom there's the old buildings where they used to process, I believe it was silver. Anyway, got in the car, went up to the Castorino Valley. Now there'd been late snow this year, and what that means is that the things in the turf are delayed a little bit. So the rock stuff's okay, the stuff like Primula marginata, the Saxifraga, they're all flowering like normal. But anything in the turf is a little bit delayed. So last time I was here I managed to see these lovely Fritillaria and these tulips, but this time there was only leaves. But there was another lovely little Dactylorhiza sambucina with those little Primula in the background. What a perfect picture that is. Another Cordialis species here. Again, unidentified, and I'm going to come clean here. Often when I go away, I'm looking for something quite specific, and there's all these other lovely flowers around, so I photograph them and think I'll come back to them later and ID them, but often you need to be with the plant, you know, looking at its leaves and its leaf axils, that sort of thing. So sadly they don't get identified. I remember on my first trip with the AGS and the evening plant ID sessions, there'd be lots of discussion about which specific plant we'd seen, and these discussions, debates, often got quite heated. Anyway, let's get back to the Alps.
Yeah, thanks, Ollie. Not all about the Alpines. Lovely bit of blossom there with the sun shining through, delightful. And the last plant of the day, Muscari, grape hyacinth, with a little bug on it. A little higher up, there's some very, very special plants, but I couldn't get there this time because the snow was blocking the path, but that'll be the subject of another video. Anyway, then it was time to head back down to Tende to entertain myself for the evening. And a lot of my friends and family, I think, wonder what I get up to on my own in the mountains all the time. So here's what I do. But don't worry, it's something bad. Something bad.
When in France, because one of the flowers, what I also like to do is find a few wines. And what I also love in France is they do these nice little half bottles. This half bottle is brilliant. Sometimes you don't want a whole bottle. You want to have a drink, but you don't want one of these bottles. You don't want that. These tiny bottles. You don't want one glass. You want 2 glasses. M&S has started to do them. So give it a try now. I mean, it's not the best one I've ever tried, but it's given stamina, so it's still lovely. Here's a new one to me, Jura wine. Now, I've never tried this before. Stubborn. I've never tried it before, but a couple of people recently have recommended this to me. I'm not getting a lot on the nose, but let's try it. It's very dry. It's interesting. I think it's something I might come to love. There's only one way to find out. I need to drink more of it and buy some more bottles of it. Nice, subtle. Bordeaux, 2022. Not sure about the vintage, let's have a go. Yeah. It's good. I tried the other Bordeaux, and I've had this one before and it was good, but not the vintage. This one's 21, I think. Don't know if I like 21. It's nice, I like it. But for the moment, I prefer this one. So Ollie's wine choice for the month is this one.
Yes, I'm sure you're all rushing out to buy a bottle of that. After a bit more diary writing, it was time to hit the hay, and then day 3, sadly my last day, so it was time to get in the car and have a drive around a little valley that I know is rich with flowers, and a lovely, peaceful, relaxing day in the French countryside.
Chaps are doing some work here. What I like to see. Not running around looking at plants. Honest day's labour. Noisy bugger. Come on then, mate. Those bloody leaf blowers. Bonjour. Bloody noisy things. Very, very quiet and peaceful here. It's lovely, but I couldn't live here. Oh, bloody cat in the road now. Hey, what's it doing? What's running the road? I mean, why do they get bloody run over? And look at this gorge. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous gorge. I mean, look at that waterfall. Look at it. Here we go. It's starting to get very narrow now. Cliffs. Oh, Saxifraga cochlearis in in the cliffs there. If anyone spotted those. Quite a wonderful Saxifraga there. This is the way to see plants. I mean, you just sort of gently sit. It's bloody raining now. Gently sit in your car, driving around, admiring the views. It really is quite wonderful. Best way to see plants. Ah, well, here we go. That is a beauty.
And Monge too, what a beauty it was. Saxifraga, callosa, Bellardi. Right, let's talk a little bit more about the 3 very special silver saxifragas that grow around this area. Now, in botany, there's 2 schools of thought here. There are people that are called lumpers and people that are called splitters, and there's lots more about this on my website, so please go and check it out, alpineollie.com. So essentially, lumpers say that differing characteristics of a plant are just seedling variations, and it's all the same species. Splitters want to say that every variation is a separate subspecies or even a new species, and they claim it has different genetic material and sometimes even specific pollinators. Now, Farah, when he visits this area among the hills, talks extensively about these plants and the differences between them. He believes that Saxifraga callosa Bellardi is distinctive from Saxifraga callosa langtoscana, which is over in Vesubia, just over the pass. He also talks about Saxifraga cochlearis, which again is quite a similar plant. More about this in another video I'm going to do. Mainly he talks about the rosettes and the leaves, and one of the things he says about Bellardi, he describes the foliage as being like a hedgehog that's had an electric current pass through it, and you know, I think I kind of agree with him. But you know what, I think he's got a point. I think these are 2 separate forms of a species, and Bellardi is indeed distinct from langtoscana. Sadly, they've now been lumped, so there we go. But whatever, it has these wonderful great plumes of creamy white flowers. I mean, look at it. It is a wonderful plant. And sadly, the last flower I was to see on this trip, for it was time to head home. On the way I saw a little gorge which might hold a Primula. I went and explored, but sadly there was nothing, and I returned empty-handed and empty-hearted. On the way back down there was lots of lovely Mediterranean flora in the verges, including this lovely orchid, Alimatorum. And as I grew closer to Nice, I realised I was not only leaving my flowers behind in their beautiful mountain home, but also my elated, heightened, bonkers spirit. But I managed to squeeze in some wine tasting and some wine weighing, then it was time to head back to normality.
So just in the airport at Nice now, getting ready to go back to Blamey and reflecting on the trip. A lot of things I hope to see, like the tulips and the Fritillaria, weren't there. But I got to see the very early stuff, which like the crocus and the hepatica, which was really nice. Disappointed not to see Primula allionii, which just means I'll have to come back. So yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next adventure. Ciao for now.